Now he says, Acharya Gosanira Tattva Nayaya Katan Krishnavatari Jeno Tarila Bhuvan. I cannot describe the truth of Advaita Acharya. He has delivered the entire world. Katan, like Katha. Nakatan. The Tattva. Acharya Gosai Tattva. Nakatan. I can't describe the truth and the extent of the truth and reality of Advaita Gosai, Advaita Acharya. He has delivered the entire world. Tarila Bhuvan. Om Bhurvaswa. Tarila means to deliver, like Tarani. Sat Tarani. So this Krishnavatari, he says, he has delivered the entire world. How has he done it? So Krishna's Kaviraj is giving Advaita Acharya the credit for delivering all of us and all the world. Why? Because Advaita Acharya, Krishnavatari, he made the Lord descend. Avaran and Avaroha Panta and what's the other one? Avaroha Panta and Avaroha. So he made the Lord descend, come down. So if Gauranga Mahaprabhu didn't come down, then we wouldn't be delivered. And if Advaita didn't bring him down, so they're so inseparable. And let's see some more. I just selected a few verses because there's a whole chapter about Advaita and a whole chapter about Nityananda. But I'm just trying to see where they're both being glorified together. I don't know. Don't look like I made a proper thing here. 138. Oh, this is the pranam mantra that we use for Advaita Acharya. Chapter 6 of Adi Lila, this of course is called The Glories of Advaita Acharya. So to begin the chapter as per the standard of Shastra writing, there's several verses of Mangalacharana to begin a book. It can be in one place to begin a book, or it can be in many places to begin each chapter. The auspicious invocatory prayers to open a chapter. So in those invocatory prayers, oftentimes the content of the entire book is defined, or the content of that particular chapter is defined in some of those prayers. For example, this is a chapter about Advaita Acharya. So then the Mangalacharana prayers, of course, are all about Advaita Acharya. And if you look at the Mangalacharana for the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is in Adi Lila chapter 1, 114. Adi Lila 1, verse 4, right in the very beginning, that's not only is it the Mangalacharana, the auspicious prayers to begin the entire book, but it sets the direction, it sets the course for the entire book, which is about 3,500 verses. Chaitanya Charitamrita, and therefore, because it's the controller, you can say, the controller of the entire book, it's called Paribhasa Sutra. Bhasha means language, and Pari means all the language in this book. Paribhasha Sutra. This shloka is the essence, the actual essence of this entire book. This is what this book is, why this book is written. This is what this book is going to teach, and this is the main conclusion to receive of this book. Anarpita Churem Churat Karanaya Avatirana Kalo. That famous verse where he says, Unat Ujjvala Rasam Sabhakti Shriyam. That Krishna has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to relish the Mahabhava of Radharani and to distribute this Madhurya Prem in the mood of Gopi Bhav. So the whole book is about Gopi Bhav, and this is and then it says, because I wrote an article recently, I think it was on my Facebook, yeah, Gaudiya Vaishnava Paribhasa Sutras. You saw it? Anyone saw it? Anyway, it's called Gaudiya Vaishnava Paribhasa Sutras. So it explains from different shastras which one is the essential shastra. So here, the verse in chapter 6 of Adi Lila, verse 5, chapter 6, verse 5. Advaitam haranadvaitad acharyam bhakti samshanat bhaktavataram isham tam advaitacharyam ashrahe. Says Advaitacharyam Hari Advaita. Advaita is not different from Lord Hari. So that's why he's called Advaita. Advaita, Hari, Advaita. Acharyam Bhakti Samshanat. And why is he called Acharya? His name is Advaita Acharya. He's called Acharya because of Bhakti Samshanat. Because he establishes and preaches pure bhakti to Radha and Krishna. And then he's Bhakta Avataram. He's the avatar of a bhakta. He's because he preaches devotional service. Bhaktavataram Ishamtam. Isha, in the Sanskrit literatures, Isha of course means Bhagavan, but Isha is often used to describe Lord Shiva. One of Lord Shiva's names, Isha. Bhaktavataram Ishamtam. Advaitacharya Ashraya. Therefore I take shelter of Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya Gosai Sakshadish Advaitacharya Gosai Sakshadishvara Janahara Mahima Nahi Jivera Gochara. Advaitacharya is directly Sakshadishvara. His glory is beyond the conception of ordinary living beings. Mahima Nahi Jivera Gochara. They cannot Gochara, Jivera Gochara. They cannot understand the extent of his glories. And goes on. Jagat Mangala Dvaita. Jagat Mangala Dvaita. It's a different kind of meter here. Jagat Mangala Dvaita. Jagat. It's like the Bhagavatam or Gita. This is 1:6 verse 12. Jagat Mangala Advaita Mangala Gunadhama Mangala Charitra Sada Mangala Janara Nama something, whatever. He said he's Jagat Mangala. He creates auspiciousness in the whole universe. And he's full of Mangala Gunadham. And Advaitacharya is an abode of all auspicious qualities and good qualities. Mangala Charita Sada. And his life story, his biography, his hagiography, what they say nowadays, hagiography or biography, his charitra is always auspicious at any time for everyone. Mangala Yandar Nam. And his name is always auspicious. Advaitacharya ki jai. A couple more verses. It's mostly a pep talk for our team, for the weight department. So I was speaking because maybe not everyone knows these. This is later in the same chapter. Glories, Advaitacharya Mahima, chapter 6, verse 25. Amshana kahiya kene kahatanre anga amshahaite anga jate haya antaranga. Why has Sri Advaita been called an anga of Lord Chaitanya and not a part? Because amsha means part and anga means limb. So what's the difference between anga and a limb? You have to know these things. How is it jiva described as? How is it jiva described?
Amsha. Mami Amsha.
Yeah. What chapter? What verse?
15th chapter.
15.
Verse.
Yeah. Will you? Mamevam cho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashastrani indrani. That's the bad part. Prakriti stanikarshati. We all know about that. We're standing in the material world suffering. That's what the verse means, the last line. Prakriti
Stani.
Stani. The word in Sanskrit is stani. Stani means place. Lila stali. So we get the English word stand. Stani. Prakriti means the Maya Prakriti. This Ashta Prakriti. And Karshati means we're getting pulled and pushed. Karshan means going this way and that way. To be pulled, to be drawn. Oh, come this way. No, go that way. Go this way. This is Maya. Prakriti. So we're all standing there. So there, Krishna is saying that the jivas are amshas. But Advaita is not called amshi, it's called anga. So Krishna's Kaviraj says, how so? Why so? Then he answers his own question. Next verse, 26. Mahavishnaramsha Advaita Gunadham Ishvara Beta Tene Advaita Purnanam. Advaita is a reservoir of all virtues, which we already said, Gunadham. He's the main limb, Mahavishnu Amsh. He's the main part of Mahavishnu. His full name is Advaita, for he is identical in all respects with Mahavishnu. There's no difference. Advaita is Mahavishnu, Mahavishnu is Advaita, and this is what Kavi Karnapur is saying in Gauraganadesh Deepika. He said he's Sadashiva and Advaita. And then Purve Jaiche Kaila Sarva Vishvara Srijan Avatari Kaila Ebe Bhakti Pravartan. Mahavishnu, Advaitacharya, formerly as Mahavishnu, manifested all the universes. And now he has descended to introduce the path of Bhakti, Bhakti Pravartan. Jiva Nistarila Krishna Bhakti Karidhan. Jiva Nistarila Krishna Bhakti Karidhan. Gita Bhagavate Koila Bhakti Ravyakan. Advaitacharya delivered all human beings by offering them the gift of Krishna Bhakti. Krishna Bhakti Karidhan. Jiva Nistar. He explained the Gita and the Bhagavatam in the course in terms of bhakti. Bhakti Vyakyan. That's nice. Even though his name was Advaita, he didn't explain Advaita Gyan or Advaita Tattva, which means the non-devotional viewpoint. Yanra Dwara Kaila Prabhu Kirtan Prachar. Janra Dwara Kaila Prabhu Jagat Nistar. This is so important. Like you go to Rishikesh, next to Rishikesh is Haridwar. And then there's Dwaraka. Dwaraka means the doorway to India, or the place of Krishna's Lila, Dwara. It's on the far west of India. So Haridwara means the door of Hari, the door of liberation. Because both of these places, there are 7 cities in India which are called Mukti Dwara. Mukti Dwara. Mukti Dwara means gates to liberation, or they're called Mokshapuri. Mokshapuri means 7 cities which give liberation. Simply you die there, you get liberation. One is Radha Kund, Vrindavan, Brajmandal, Mathura Mandala. The other is Kashi, Benares, Kashi. Another one's Ayodhya. Another one is Dwarka. Another one is Haridwar. Haridwar, Dwarka, Benares, Ayodhya, Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan, and Kashi, and one in South India, Vishnu Kanchi. And like this, there's 7 cities. So Dwaraka means that place you get liberation, Haridwar. So here, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Advaitacharya is called a Dwara. He's the Dwara for for Kirtan, and he's the Dwara to deliver the universe. Because the whole universe is delivered by Harinam Sankirtan. Pram Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan Ki Jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this is the only victory. People will be victorious over Jana and Mrityu, over birth and death, only by this Harinam Sankirtan, no other way in the age of Kali. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam, kalo anasteva, 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 gati aranyata. There's no other way. Panam gati, gata. Panam gati, gata, no other way but this Harinam Sankirtan. Therefore, all glories, Param Vijayate, supreme victory will be had by everyone. So the doorway, in other words, who introduced the Kirtan Prachar, Janra Dwara Kaila Prabhu Kirtan Prachar, Yanra Dwara Kaila Prabhu Jagat Nistar. Advaitacharya was doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan and Krishnanam Sankirtan 40 years before Lord Chaitanya appeared on Navadvip. As I mentioned, he was born in 1433. Lord Chaitanya is born 50 years later. He's an acharya, he is a Brahmin. He had many, many disciples, so he was already preaching Krishna Bhakti. Not exactly Gaur Krishna Bhakti, but Krishna Bhakti, pure Shuddha Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti, initiating thousands of people and engaging everyone in Navavida Bhakti, 9 lives of devotion, and principally, especially chanting Harinam Sankirtan. So Vaitacharya and Haridas Thakur and those group of senior Vaishnavas, Chandrasekhar, Acharya, and others, and Navadvip Mandal, they are gathering regularly and going out on Harinam Sankirtan and wondering when Krishna would come as Gauranga. So the Kirtan Prachara, the Dwara and the Prachara, it is through Advaitacharya that Chaitanya spread he's the doorway by which Lord Chaitanya walked through to spread to do preaching of Kirtan Prachara, to preach Kirtan. And by preaching Kirtan, distributing Nam Sankirtan, Jagat Nistar means he delivered the whole universe. Acharya Gosai Chaitanyera, Acharya Gosai Chaitan, Yara Mukhya Anga, Ara Eka Anga Tanra, Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Prabhu is the principal limb, the Mukhya Anga of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another limb is Lord Nityananda. So this is a very significant verse because in the beginning of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, Advaita Prabhu had Nityananda had not even started initiating yet. And he was just an avadut. He was wandering all over India, searching for Krishna, like Balaram wandered all over India, searching for Krishna. During the Kurukshetra war, he went on Tirthayatra all over India. That's in Krishna book, 10th canto of Bhagavatam, the pilgrimage of Balaram. So Balaram came as Nitai, Hoila Nitai, Balaram Hoila Nitai. So when Balaram came as Nitai, he also wandered all over India, searching for his brother, Vishwarup or whatever. And so there's no Harinam Sankirtan. Then he came to Braj, then he came to the banks of the Yamuna, and he went to Nityanandavat, which is called Shringharvat. And he went there meditating on Radha Krishna Lila, and his sarup is maybe a Nangamanjari or whatever. So then there in that spot, it came in his heart, Mahaprabhu has appeared. Mahaprabhu has appeared to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. And then he yelled out, Hunkar, Gaur! And then Nitai left Vrindavan, left Shringharvat and the banks of Yamuna, ran back to Navadvip Mandal to meet Gauranga. And he didn't meet him when he was a baby. He met him when he was about 16 years old. He was already born a long time. But he was in Maya. Gauranga Mahaprabhu was busy studying Naya. He was in Maya studying Naya. He was in Maya. It's not Maya to study Naya, by the way, but just to make a little poem joke. He was studying Naya and logic and all kinds of different things and Vyakaran and Sanskrit grammar, and then became a proficient teacher. He became a Digvijay Pandit and defeated the Brahmin Pandit Keshav, coming from Kashmir. Keshav Bhatta. His name was Keshav Bhatta, his birth name, and he's born in Kashmir. He's generally called Kashmiri Pandit as a category. So he was very puffed up and very proud and very, very, very far away from Trinada peace. And he, Amanina, Manidena. No, he had no money for anybody. Yeah, his money was for him. He had no money for anybody. Money means respect. He would challenge. What is your philosophy? I challenge you. Do you know Naya? So then they would argue, and then he would say, "Okay." Then Lord Chaitanya would say, "Now argue this point and convince me." So then his fellow student would present an argument, very convincing. He said, "That's very good, but now I'm going to defeat my own argument and defeat you too." And he used to gather. Nimai had a gang, the Pandit gang. And they, 5 or 6, they would go together, and they would go from door to door to different acharyas and senior people in the Navadvip Mandal, and knock on the door and say, "Oh, Radhe, Haribol, or I don't know what, he wasn't saying Haribol, he wasn't saying anything. He said, Om, whatever he was saying. He just said, Maya, Maya. He said, where, Prabhu kaha? Prabhu kotai. Where's your Prabhu? Oh, he's in a mandir. You call him, tell him Nimai Pandit's here, wants to discuss Tattva. Acha. So then she would say, oh, Prabhu, Nimai Pandit, and Jagannath Mishra Kabacha. He came here to discuss Tattva with you. Oh, no. I'm not going to meet with him. No. You tell him I'm doing my anik, I'm doing my mantra dhyan, and it will take me several hours. So then his wife went back and said, no, my pati's busy in a mandir or Thakurji ke samne, and he's doing his chanting Diksha mantra. So you come back tomorrow. Acha TK. So this way he was going around and embarrassing and shaming all the pundits in Navadvip. And the boys, when they would come out of someone's house, they'd Jai Nimai, Jai Nimai, Jai Nimai, and he would smile like yeah, and he was like really puffed up. And it wasn't until the very end of his Lila, until Lila chapter 20 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, that he decided this is not the way to go. Should be humble and respect all and serve all and love all. Trinadapi. He's writing Trinadapi. Sanichena. Taroriva Sahishna. He couldn't tolerate anything. Anyone just said, no, you don't understand the Vyakaran. Do you know what is the syllable ya? Is it ya a half syllable or a full syllable? Then they would argue. No, it's ya ah. So so this is so then Nitai joined him, and then because Nitai was traveling around, but Lord Advaita Acharya was there from the time Lord Chaitanya was born. He came to worship him with all kinds of articles. That's in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sachimata and Advaita came to worship him, and they were best friends of Jagannath Mishra. They were seniors, and they were best friends of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. So that's why everyone knows, and this is history. It says Acharya Gosai Gun. No, it says Acharya Gosai Chaitanya Mukhya Anga. So according to the historical record of the Pramana Shastra, the main primary, Mukhya means main primary chief Anga, limb of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Advaita Acharya. So if you turn back the clock 500 years ago, Advaita Acharya, he already had so many devotees, and when he joined Lord Chaitanya, they all joined with him. Just like Srila Prabhupada had one disciple, his name was, I forget what his name was, Jyotin Guru or something like that. He's from Hawaii. Sarup. His name was Siddhasarupananda. Bhakti Upadesha Vina, Tanar Nahi Karya, Ateva, Namahaila Advaita Acharya. This is very nice. It says, since Advaita Acharya has no other occupation than to teach bhakti, his name is Advaita Acharya. Bhakti Upadesha Bino. So we can think, if you want to have any job, if you're in Advaita Parivar and you want to take up any job, especially you Brahmins, Bhakti Upadesha, Vino Nahi Karya. No other karya, no other work but Bhakti Upadesh. Ateva Nam. Then you can be called, you can certainly, Ateva Nam, then you certainly can be called a member of Advaita Acharya's family. Think about that. Bhagavat Sapta Chalade. Vaishnavera Guru Tena Jagatera Arya Duinama Milane Haila Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is the spiritual master of all the devotees. Vaishnavera Guru Tena Jagatera Arya. He's Arya, like we say, Arya Nivas. He's the most respected and revered personality of Godhead. Duina Milan. By the combination of these two names, his name is Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya Ishwar Amshavarya. Tanra Tattva Nama Guna Sakali Ascharya. Sri Advaita Acharya is the principal limb, the main limb of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His truths and names and attributes are all wonderful. His Tattva Nam Guna Sakali Ascharya. Ascharya means amazing, wonderful. Like Chamatkar. Like I once asked someone, some Hindi person, I said, can you explain the difference between Adbhut, Ascharya, and Chamatkar? You know Hindi?
No.
Hindi? No. So so I said, can you explain the difference between Adbhut, Ascharya, and Chamatkar? So what will you say? They all like Adbhut, Adbhut avatar. Adbhut means amazing, 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 and then Ascharya means astounding, astonishing, astonishing, and then Chamatkar means means miraculous. So it's explained by Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Ras is not Ras unless it has Chamatkar gun. You might say, "Oh, I'm in love with this man," or "I'm in love with my mother," whatever. Say this man. So that's called Madhurya, amorous love between man and woman. So you have your emotions and sentiments and experiences and joys and sorrows and so many things you do. But is that relationship, your amorous love, is it full of chamatkar? Is it? Was it you say? Is it miraculous? Chamatkar means it's miraculous. So this word. He said this is the key word. It's not ras. It's not ras unless it's imbued and mixed with the quality of chamatkar. I mean, it's miraculousness. It's just chamatkar. One person said that it's chamatkar. What did they say? How did they explain it? One acharya saying. I don't know, somehow, what was he saying? He was saying say you're in a kirtan, as much as I can remember, you're in some kirtan with a large group of devotees, and everyone's chanting with full heart and full concentration and full mind, at least most everybody. There's always a few space outs, but most everybody's like quote unquote into it. And then it's going on, Hare Krishna, it's going on for an hour, 2 hours, whatever. Then finally it's coming to the crescendo, maybe the time's up or they're tired or whatever. And then Haribol, 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 Haribol. And everyone's Haribol, Haribol, and jumping. So he said when you get to that last Haribol and you're jumping and your last jump, there's a certain feeling you have. He said that's chamatkar. So I mean, you have to be on a platform Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti to actually do Rasa Swadan. When you mix your sthai rati with anubhavas and vibhavas. So that takes very high, hundreds of births of practice and kripa to actually know to really be able to speak or know what is chamatkar. But that's a very rough approximation. Anyway, Jai Radhe. Ras, that's the thing. Lila Ras. Lila Ras is Swadan. At least if we read about Radha and Krishna's Lila Ras, especially their Brajaras, there's so much astonishment and miraculous things. Krishna goes out, a few coward boys from Vrindavan, a few coward boys can go over to Nandagram. Hey, let's go play, boys. Let's go play by the Yamuna. Okay, let's go play by Govardhan. So they go play. Let's get the cows, take some ropes, bring some balls, bring some bats, get some amalaki fruits. We'll play ball. We'll have some different games. And then Krishna says, "Oh, I have in my mind some new ideas, some new games. We'll play some new games." "Oh, really? No, I don't tell you. Wait till we get there. We get to the Jamuna, then I'll tell you the new games." Acha. So then they're going and they're thinking, what games he's going to think and what? So they're just normal boys playing, or like little girls play, boys play. So they get there, they're playing. All of a sudden, a big snake comes, opens his mouth, and the top of his jaw is higher than the clouds, And then the boys say, "Oh, what's that? It's another Govardhan hill." What was that food that Radharani fed us in breakfast? Radharani, they all had breakfast in Nandagram. By the time they got out at 10 o'clock in the morning, they were seeing 2 Govardhan hills. So you can only wonder about the chamatkar effect of that. So, and then no one says, no, it's a cave. It's Govardhan. No, it's Govardhan. It's actually Govardhan Hill. It's a cave in Govardhan. No, it's not. It's not Govardhan. It's just two Govardhans. Govardhan's there. This over here. I don't know. Anyway, let's go inside. Because boys are very, very curious. Very, very curious. They're fun-loving, curious, and a little stupid also. And they don't use their logic, Women are a little more logical sometimes, especially younger children. When they get older, they get a little illogical. But when they're younger, you see the younger girls are more sober and like control. The boys, let's do this, yeah. Oh, no, that's not good. Nah, be quiet, shut up. Then they get smashed up, This is the way. So that's in Sakiras, Krishna Coward Boys and Agasura, and then so many experiences there. That's that, and in the Sakiras, that's Chamatkar. It's miraculous. It's amazing. So, Advaita Charya is some. So he said, what do I say? Oh yeah, this is one of the main things. Everything's wonderful about him is touched with his name. Then it said he worshipped Janhara Tulsi Jale, Janhara Hunkare, Sagana Sahite Chaitanya Avatari. Advaita Prabhu, he worshipped Krishna with Tulsi leaves and the water of Ganga, and called him with a loud sound. He said, "Come here!" Right? Like you want to call someone's across. Come here! Either out! Either out means come here. Jaldi out! Come here quickly. So in his own language, in the language of one Bhagavan calling another Bhagavan, then he called him. It says, Chaitanya Bhagavad says, Hunkara. Hunkara means he's roaring. Ishvara, hey Paramishvara! Either out! Come here now. Abhikaro. What to say? How would you enact it? In your mandali, Gaur Lila mandali, huh? Braj mandali. That's better. So Mahaprabhu appeared on earth, accompanied by his personal associates. Swagana Sahite. Swagan Sahite Chaitanya Avatari. So sometimes people say he was offering. He was doing Shalagram Puja. He was offering Tulsi Shalagram. He was offering Tulsi leaves, and you see pictures like that. It's even in his book, picture like that. But all my teachers and everyone I discussed said he was going to the Ganga, and because the Ganga is Jal Brahman, it's a form of Krishna in this age, and he was offering the Tulsi into the Ganga. He worshipped Krishna with Tulsi leaves and Ganga water. He's actually bathing in the Ganga, then he's worshipping the Ganga, and he's picking up Tulsi leaves and offering to the Ganga. Because the Ganga is connected to Vishnu because it's his Charanamrita. So it's Tadinam. So there's nowhere anywhere in Shastra it says he was worshipped. Even this verse doesn't say it. Just he worshipped Krishna. It says, Tulsi Jale, Hunkare. Janhara Tulsi Jale, Janhara Hunkare. So it says, literally it means he was offering Tulsi into the water and yelling. Screaming, yelling, whatever in your own language. Jor se boldo, radhe radhe, jor se boldo, radhe radhe. So he was yelling. Tulsi Jale, there's no shalagram here. Vrindavan Thakur describes Hena Bhakta Advaitere Ambalite Harishe Papi Sabadukapai Nija Karma Doshe. When such a devotee as Advaita Prabhu is joyfully glorified, sinful persons become distressed due to their past misdeeds. Se Kale Je Haila Katha Se Satya Hai
Na mane Vaishnavakya se Jayakshay. The topics of that time have been narrated by the Vaishnavas and are all factual. One who doubts their words is ruined. Hari bola bhali dute Prabhu Vishwambar Chaturdike Bedi Saba Gayanuchar. Vishwambar stood up and chanted. So apparently he was on the ground, lying on the ground, doing this whole loving exchange with Advaita. And chanted Hari Bol! His followers sang on all sides. Chaturdike. Advaita Acharya Mahanande Vival Mahamatta Hai Nache Pasari Sakal. Advaita Acharya was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Mahanande Vival, it was great bliss. Vival means bewildered, overwhelmed. He forgot everything as he danced like an intoxicated person. Nache Pasari Sakal. Mahamatta Hai. He was totally mad. Imagine seeing this. It's interesting, sometimes they say, let's see what it says. Tarje Garje Acharya Dadite Diadhat Brukuti Karya Nache Shantipura Nat. Advaitacharya, the Lord of Shantipur, touched his beard and roared loudly as he furrowed his eyebrows and danced. Furrowed his eyebrows and danced, touched his beard. In accordance with scriptural injunctions, now listen to this. In accordance with scriptural injunctions, Sri Advaita Prabhu shaved his mustache, beard, and hair. Hair of any length on the chin is in ordinary language called dadi, or beard, dadi. That is why, due to ignorance, some people attribute on him the symptoms like dress, beard, and hair of a foolish baul. Baul are like these apasampradayas, they have long beards. But actually, Advaitacharya was clean shaven. To address him as Nada is an indication of his shaved head. In Bengali, the word Naida is a corruption of the word Nada, refers to a person with a cleanly shaved head. Apparently, it said he touched his beard, and so what he's saying is this word in the Bengali says dadi, which I think is the same in Hindi, maybe dadi, or you say dadiwala, dadiwala. So that's why the purport is there, because if we just read that, it means beard, but it means beard. It means a beard of 1/64 of an inch long beard, 1/64 of a centimeter, or let's say it means a beard with hair this long, and it means a beard with hair this long. Grandfather time beard, or 2 days stubble. 2 days you haven't shaved, that's a beard. You follow? So that's why he's trying to say that this is what this, in accordance with scripture, in accordance with scriptural injunctions, Advaita shaved his mustache, beard, and hair, and probably the hair under his arms, because Brahmins also do that to keep clean. So there's less sweating. There's no hair under the arm. There's less sweating. So no, not bad smell or anything doing puja. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is using this purport to establish that he didn't have a beard at all. I mean, maybe a one-day beard. And he touched his one-day beard and roared loudly and danced around in ecstatic intoxication of divine love. Because Mahaprabhu's kirtan, Mahaprabhu's chanting Hari Bol. And he stood up and he's chanting Hari Bol. Everybody's on his sides. And Advaitacharya, despite his age doesn't have much to do with the transcendental body. So although he was quite old, and he would go to Jagannath Puri every year, he was appointed one of the main dancers around the Jagannath's cart in the kirtan party. He was one of the dancers. Jaya Krishna Gopala Govinda Vanamali Ahara Nishe Gaya Sabe Haya Kutuhali. Day and night they all happily sang Jaya Krishna Gopal Govinda Vanamali. There's another one of those verses that show what they're chanting in kirtan. Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinada, Achyuta Keshava Sridhara Madhava, Gopala Govinda Hari, Shama Sundara Kaniya Lal, Girivaradari Nanda Dulal, Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinada, Hari Bol. So this kirtan was written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Achyuta Keshava, Sridhara Madhava. All this is Nam Sankirtan. So here's an example. Jai Krishna Gopal Govinda Malavali. That's it. That is a point, that if you go through all the scriptures, and whenever you find a description, whenever you're having Harinam, Nam Sankirtan, it's Hari Haraya Nama Krishna, or Krishna Krishna, or something. But Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chiti Te Koriya Aikya. My only wish is that my consciousness purified by the words emanating from my spiritual master. So our line, we do Kirtan of the Maha Mantra. If you go through the Shastras, and you don't find so many, hard to find any verses where they said, and devotees got together and they chanted Hare Krishna and Kirtan. Hard to find. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, definitely you won't find. Lord Chaitanya was chanting, and as he was walking down the streets, going through the villages, he was chanting Hari Haraya Nama Krishna, Yadavaya Nama, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshvaya Nama. Krishna, 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 Rakshama, Keshav. This is written in the Bengali shlokas. But for us, our Gurudev, whenever it says Nam Sankirtan, he always translated it. And they were chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra because we don't really know so many other words. Nam Sankirtan, we know. Hardly we can digest these three. These are three words that's enough for us to remember. Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Achyuta Keshava. It's so much confusing. Hare Krishna and Ram. Okay, simple, 3 words. So we follow that and we get our perfection with that. Nityananda Mahaprabhu Parama Vival Tarapi Chaitanya Nritte Parama Kushal Savadane Chaturdike Dui Hasta Tuli Parite Chaitanya Dari Rahai Mahavali. Although Lord Nityananda was greatly overwhelmed, he was expert in dancing with Lord Chaitanya. Whenever Lord Chaitanya was about to fall, the most powerful Nityananda stretched out his arms and carefully caught him. Although, from a material point of view, Nityananda was greatly overwhelmed or maddened, but even while dancing for the pleasure of the Lord, he would display full expertise. So that's a nice point. He was dancing for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya in a very expert and dynamic way, an attractive way. At the same time, he was totally overwhelmed in madness. Parama Vival, really completely overwhelmed. He didn't lose his cool, so to speak, because he was always remembered. He always remembered, despite the overwhelming madness of the event, of the kirtan, he didn't forget that I'm doing this for the pleasure. Don't let me get carried away. Don't let me get carried away by the ananda or the bliss that I forget how to dance properly. Start crashing into the walls. And sometimes we do that also. Whenever Sri Chaitanya Dev became maddened due to love of Krishna while dancing, he was about to fall on the ground. Nityananda prevented him from falling on the ground by stretching out his arms. Ashesha aveshe nache Sri Gauranga Rai Taha Varani Bhara Shakti Kedare Jivai. Lord Gauranga danced in unlimited ecstasy. Who has the power to describe that dancing? Sri Gauranga Rai. Avesh, Nache, Ashesh, unlimited ecstasy. Unlimited absorption. Saraswati Sahita, Apane Balaram, Sei Se, Takurgai, Puri Manaskam. Balaram and Saraswati sing the glories of Mahaprabhu to their full satisfaction. Very interesting purport here. The sounds that are vibrated by the tongue when one is overwhelmed with ecstatic love at the time of Krishna Kirtan, while chanting the glories of one's worshipable Lord. These sounds vibrated by the tongue, they appear due to the combination of Baladev and Saraswati. Baladev sings to his full satisfaction the glories of the Lord through the tongue of Saraswati. That's very interesting. Balaram and Saraswati. And Saraswati, of course, represents the Shakti Tattva, Ladini aspect, Anand, bliss, love, prema. And Balaram represents the existence, potency, Sandhini potency. So this combination is like bhakti. Bhakti is Samvid Shakti, but that also includes Sandhini there. It has to be there also. So Balaram and Saraswati means Shakti Tattva and Sandhini Shakti. Interesting purport. Balaram and Saraswati sing Mahaprabhu's glory to their full satisfaction. So Balaram, of course, is Nityananda. Then he's saying, the purport is saying that chanting the glories of Lord's one's worshipful Lord appears through the combination of Baladeva and Saraswati. So for glorification of the Lord to exist, you need existence potency. So that's Balaram, Sandhini Shakti, the foundation, the ability to do that. And then the ability of expression, to express eloquently and poetically and beautifully and full of love, of Shakti, of Ladini, blissful prayers and blissful glorification, and that's Saraswati. Because Saraswati ultimately is Radharani. She's an expansion of Radharani. Saraswati is Lakshmi, the wife of Divya. Divya Saraswati spoke to Brahma. And Divya Saraswati gave the Gopal mantra to Brahma in the Brahma Samhita. So that mantra is all about Krishna and the gopis and Vrindavan and everything. So it's Ladini Shakti. Shane Shane Murchahai Shane Mahakampa Shane Trinalaya Kari Shane Mahadampa Damba Mahadamba. Sometimes Mahaprabhu lost consciousness. Sometimes his body shook. Sometimes he took straw between his teeth, and sometimes he became greatly proud. Shane Hasa Shane Swasha Shane Va Viras Hemata Prabhura Aveshe Parakash. Sometimes Mahaprabhu laughed, sighed deeply, became morose. In this way the Lord manifested ecstatic love. Virasana Kariya Takura Shane Vaise Maha Atta Atta Kari Maje Maje Hase. Sometimes Mahaprabhu sat in a Virasan posture, and sometimes he laughed loudly. Ho 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 ho. Bhagya Anurupa Kripa Karaye Sabare Dubila Vaishnava Sava Ananda Sagari. As Mahaprabhu bestowed mercy on everyone according to their good fortune, all the Vaishnavas drowned in an ocean of ecstasy. Mahaprabhu's various pastimes are seen by his devotees according to their adhikar. Impersonalists who are indifferent to the Lord are totally unqualified to achieve the Lord's mercy. The Supreme Lord is controlled by the love of his devotee in proportion to the devotee's endeavor to engage in his service. More service, more love, more adhikar, more opportunity to see the Lord's pastimes. Due to their piety, the devotees of the Lord became free from the inauspiciousness of unrestricted sense enjoyment, fruitive activities, and mental speculation. So tomorrow we'll hear about the topics of Shuklambara Brahmachari, which is the title of the chapter. Tomadeki kota je se paibe Vishnu bhakti aro samharile tara chirantana shakti. Mahaprabhu goes on about Advaita. That Mathura Nivasi was supposed to achieve devotional service to Vishnu by seeing you, but you even destroyed whatever spiritual strength he had. Laya charana duli tarik kailakshaya samhara karite tumi parama nirdaya. You destroyed him by taking dust from his feet. You are most merciless in the act of destruction. Ananta brahmande jata ache bhakti yog sakala tomari Krishna dila upayog. Krishna has readily endowed you with the devotion found in innumerable universes. Tatapiya tumi churi kara kudra stan. Kudra samharite kripa nahi vasaman. Yet you steal from an insignificant source. You have no compassion when it comes to destroying an insignificant creature. Maha dakaite tumi chore mahachor. Tumi se gorila churi prema sukamor. You are a great bandit. Maha dakite. And the greatest of all thieves. Mahachor. You have stolen my ecstatic love. Churi prema sukamor. You have stolen the happiness of my love. He mata chalikai susatya vachan shunya anande base bhagavatagan. As Mahaprabhu spoke the truth under some pretense in this way, the devotees floated in ecstasy. Mahaprabhu goes on. Tumi se karila churi amikina pari hera dheka chorera upari karanchuri. You have stolen. Why can't I? Wait and see how I steal from a thief. That's Mahaprabhu speaking to Advaita. Hetabali Advaitere apanaidaria lotaye charana duli hasya. After saying this, Mahaprabhu grabbed Advaita and laughed as he took the dust from his feet. And you can imagine this 23-year-old, 7-foot-tall, lion-like Brahmin grabbing this 90-year-old man, 90-year-old Brahmin grandfather, 7 feet tall, robust, powerful, long arms to his knees, Janu Lambita. There's no way Advaita could escape the loving embrace of the Lord. Mahabali Gora Singhe. Oh, that's interesting. Gora Singha, the lion like Gora. Mahabali Gora Singhe. Advaita Napade. Advaita Charana Prabhu. Gase Nija Shire. Charana Dire Vakshe. Advaitere Bale. Hera Deka Chora Bandi Lama Nija Kole. Karite Takai Churi. Chora Shatabar Barike Grihasta Saba. Karaya Udhar. Advaita could not compete with the powerful lion like Gaur, who rubbed Advaita's feet on his head. I guess he just picked him upside down. Sounds like he just took Advaita, flipped him upside down. That's how you get somebody's feet on your head. Right? It sounds like he holds some little kid, like a mother holds her kid by the ankles and swings him. Mother Sachi used to do that sometimes. Yeah, because it just says he took the dust. I don't know. So here it says, who rubbed Advaita's feet, holding Advaita's feet to his chest. I mean, that's like if you're holding somebody upside down, you can hold her, or he's on the ground. He said, see how I've captured a thief in my embrace. A thief may steal hundreds of times, but a householder retrieves everything in one stroke. A thief steals many times and gradually accumulates various items. In order to take revenge for the thief's repeated thefts, the householder retrieves everything from his house. Sri Chaitanya is most powerful, Gaura Singha, and Advaita is less powerful. Therefore, Mahaprabhu forcibly and openly held Advaita's feet to his chest. Now we're going to hear something from Advaita's side. What does he have to say about all this? Advaita balayesh satya kahila apani Tumi se grihastami kichui najani. Prana buddhi manadeya sakala tumar. Kera kibe prabhu tumi karile samhar. Hari shara datta tumi deyatap. Tumi shasti karile rakibe karabhav. Naradari jaya prabhu dwaraka nagare. Tomara charana dhana prana deki bare. Tumita sabara lao charanera duli. Se sabaki kare prabhu se ami bali. Apanara sevika pane jabe kao. Ki karibe sevikai sevake apane bhavi chao. Ki daya charana duli se rahuka pache. Katite tomaragya konjana ache tabe jay matakara. Nahi takurali amara samhara haya tume kutuhali. I wait to reply to Mahaprabhu. Whatever you have said is true, but are you a householder? I don't know anything about that. My life, intelligence, mind and body all belong to you. O Lord, if you annihilate me, who can protect me? You are the giver of happiness and distress. If you punish someone, whose father can protect him? O Lord, when personalities like Narad visit Dwaraka to see your lotus feet, which are their life and wealth, you take the dust from Narada's feet. Then what can they do? This is my question. When you destroy your own servant, what can he do? Please consider. Or to speak of taking dust from your feet, who can even transgress your order? But when you act in this way, it does not increase your glories. As I get annihilated, you take pleasure. So Waita is saying that you're not a householder. Everything belongs to you. So I belong to you also. Tomara se deha tumi rakava samhar. Jay tomara icha prabhu tahi tumikar. And Waita said, Mahaprabhu, this body belongs to you. You may either protect it or destroy it, O Lord. Do whatever you wish. Vishambara bali tumi bhaktira bhandari. Eteke tomara charanera sevakari. Vishambara replied, Advaita, you are the storekeeper of devotional service. That is why I serve your lotus feet. Bhakti Bandhar. He's a Bhakti Bandhari. Bandhara. Bandhari means he's the storekeeper of bhakti. Tomara Charana Seva. So I serve your lotus feet. Tomara Charana Duli. Sarvange Lepile. Basaye Purusha Krishna Prema Rasa Jale. So Vishnuvar is glorifying Advaita now. Some few verses, 5 verses. If one smears the dust of your lotus feet over his body, he will float in the mellows of ecstatic love for Krishna. Krishna Prema Rasa Jale. Basaye Purusha. That Purusha, that person will basaye. He will float in the jal, Rasa Jal. Prema Rasa Jal. Krishna Prema Rasa Jal will float in the waters of Krishna Prema Ras. Bina tumi dile bhakti keha nahi pai. Tomara seyami kehena. Jana sarvatai. If you do not distribute devotional service, no one can attain it. Know that I belong to you in all respects. Tumiyama jata vecha tatai vikai. Hey satya kahilam tomara setani. You can sell me wherever you like. I tell you this in truth. Mahaprabhu said, Advaita, please consider me your property. As a merchant, you can sell me as a commodity wherever you like. You are the only administrator of the storehouse of bhakti. If a living entity follows your service attitude in all respects, then he will bathe in the nectarine mellows of ecstatic love for Krishna. I am telling you this supreme truth. Advaitera pratideki kripara vaibhav apurva chintaye mane sakala vaishnav. On seeing the extraordinary mercy bestowed on Advaita, all the Vaishnavas were astonished. And then they commented on the pastime. Satya sevi lena prabhu e mahaparush koti mokshatulya nahi e kripara lesh. This great personality, Advaitacharya, has truly served Lord Chaitanya. For a fraction of the mercy he received cannot be compared to millions of liberations. Kadachit e prasada sankari se pai, jahakari advaitere Shri Gaurangarai. Shiva rarely receives such mercy as Advaita received from Advaita Gauranga Rai. Because in another form, Advaita Prabhu is Sadashiva. Mahavishnu is also Sadashiva. So there's an extraordinary mercy that Advaita is getting to embrace Radha Krishna Yugal, Radha Govinda Yugal in the form of Mahaprabhu, Rasa Mahabhav. So Lord Shiva, doesn't he worships Ananta Shesh. He gets to embrace a snake. His Ishtadev is Ananta Shesh. He wears around his neck also. But for him to embrace Radha Krishna is most difficult. And it only happened in one brief instance where he could even have darshan of Radha Krishna Yugal. And it took a lot of adhikar, eligibility, to get that darshan. He had to come to Vrindavan and perform austerities in Mansarovar. Sometimes people say Brahmakund. And then he got blessed by Yogamaya and the Sakhis, and he was given a Gopi Rup, Gopishwar. And he was allowed entrance into Vamshivat to see the Lila by the mercy of the Gopis, because he had suitable Deha. He had Gopi Deha and Gopi Bhav. Some Gopi Bhavs. Not Mahabhav, but some Gopi Bhav, Braj Gopi Bhav. So he was allowed to see Radha and Krishna Yugal, but he couldn't go up and embrace them, or embrace Krishna. He didn't dance with Krishna as a Gopi. That's quite a very high adhikar. So then again, after that he was posted by Lord Krishna to be the guard of the Rasa Stali, Gopishwar. He's right there. His place is right next to Vamshivat. Just to the left down the street is Vamshivat. It's the same in the transcendental eternal topography of the spiritual world. Everything is located in the same proximity to each other. Down the street, to the right of today's Gopishwar, you go down the street, and to the right, and then back a little bit to the west and up on the hill. There's the old Govindaji Mandir, the old one that's vacated now because it's broken by the Aurangzeb, and the deities moved behind another temple. But that temple is called Govindastali, which is described in Govinda Lila Amrita. It's a yoga peeth, evening yoga peeth. And the Yamuna comes from the north and breaks into two branches. One goes to the north and south, and they meet again. And in the middle they embrace an island-like structure called Govindastali, or yoga peeth. And that rises from the banks of the Yamuna. The yoga peeth rises like the back of a turtle. Turtle's shell goes like this, and then like a bell curve comes up like this and goes down. So at the top of that is Govindastali. There's an 8-petal lotus. In the middle there's a mandir and all this. That's where the Divya Brindaranya Kalpa Jumadan, that's where that puja goes on, Radha and Krishna. And they come down from that little hill and they wander along the banks of Yamuna. And they come to Vamshivat, Jamuna Pulina, and they have the Rasa dance commences there. So that they go down there and walk towards Gopishwar. And further on, then there's the banyan tree, Vat. Then Yamuna's there, then Krishna's there, and he calls the gopis. That's all connected. And the same thing is there in the spiritual world like this. And Brahmakund is right outside the wall of Sri Ranga, that South Indian temple. It's kind of stuck in the middle of the yoga peeth configuration. Because it's Govindastali, then there's a big boundary wall of this Sri Rangam South Indian temple. But that was new. It wasn't always that. Just came. It was built in 1930s or something like that. But then it goes so many times. It was all forest. So it was the Govindastali, and then forest, and then it was Brahmakund. It was dug. It was very deep, right on the outside the wall. Because that's the actual distance, the proper distance. So a certain distance from Govindastali is Brahmakund. And some more distance is Gopishwar, a little more is Vamshivat, a little more is Jamuna Pulin and Deer Shamir. Then Jamuna moved a little bit, but it used to be all there, right at Vamshivat. So it's even today. It's arranged and basically it's described that situated north of Govindasthali is Gopishwar, and situated north of Gopishwar is Vamshivat. That's how it is today also. When I used to live down there, I would walk all around those places and think about all these things. It's very nice, that downtown area. It's very rich, and Sevakunj and Rasastali and Nidhivan and Sringarbad. Divine area. That's where all the six Goswamis lived. Everybody lived there since 500 years. That's why that was the core. The core of Vrindavan was right there. That's the core area. That's why it developed so much, because it's the intensity of the gurus and Siddha Mahatmas that lived there, and then their chelas that would gather around them, and then the visitors would come to visit them from different cities, Agra and other places. Visit them in holy places. Then all the service people in the stores open up to sell blankets. Loy Bazaar. Loy means blanket. Loy means blanket, like kumbal. It used to be just selling blankets, 200 rupee blankets and stuff. There was no mukutwalas there at all. It was just blanket shops. And Loy Bazaar. There's Outkamba, that was Loy Bazaar. And there's Anand Bazaar, Anaj Mandi. Anaj Mandi, that's where they sell grain market. And the Chandi market was over down near Outkamba, near Bhakti Vihari's side. That's where they sold all Kut and all those things. Anyway, it's all ancient history now. Interesting to hear about something. Okay. So the devotees are glorifying Advaitacharya. All the devotees are there observing this wonderful exchange and Srivasangam. It's a very intimate exchange with the two Prabhus. There's the teen Prabhu. The teen Prabhu, they're all Vishnu Tattva. They're all really one. Ekopahusham. Krishna expands into 4 tattvas and 5 tattvas and 1 tattva and unlimited tattvas. The 4 tattvas is Chaturvyuha, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Then there's the Pancha tattva, there's Mahaprabhu, and then Nityananda, Advaita, and then Shakti tattva. There's 3 Vishnu tattva. There's 3 Vishnu tattva called Teen Prabhu. 3 Prabhus usually they're together. When you see on the altar, you'll see Chaitanya in the middle, and then Advaita on the right hand side, Nityananda on the other side, because they have to have that configuration when the 3 of them are there. And Nityananda will be on the left. But generally when it's done the Panchatattva, then no, the senior Vishnu Tattva are to the right, in terms of adhesion, that thing. So Teen Prabhu, they're often worshipped together. You see 3, and they're in the Yoga Pit in Mayapur, they're worshipped together. There's a Teen Prabhu Mandir in the Yoga Pit, meditation. So here, one Vishnu Tattva is worshipping another Vishnu Tattva. Gauranga is worshipping Advaita, like Krishna worshipping himself. Krishna worshipping his Purushavatars. Krishna worshipping Anantashesh. Krishna worshipping Sadashiva. Gauranga is Krishna, Radha and Krishna. So Radha and Krishna worshipping Sadashiva. Radha and Krishna worshipping Shiva. Radha and Krishna worshipping Mahavishnu. So like people say, I only worship Radha and Krishna, I don't worship Lord Shiva. And Mahaprabhu, Lord Shiva, is worshipping Advaitacharya. Very interesting point. So devotees are glorifying, they're watching this, and it's amazing. It's not clear. I guess if we meditate more on this pastime, I would assume he wouldn't just pick him up, as I said, because that's a little bit too much like American wrestling. That Lord Chaitanya would go and would wrestle him down the ground and grab him by the ankles and pick him up, hang him upside down, and get kind of dizzy, the old man get dizzy and get a headache. I guess it's more like he embraced him and then they fell to the ground in the embrace, and while they were kind of scuffling and rolling on the ground, and then he took his feet and held them to his head, and so they're all, he's in a very, because he has regard, he's regarding that Advaita as his guru and as his worshipful Lord. So Lord Chaitanya's not going to hang your, go and pick up your guru by, don't go and flip your guru upside down. All his prasadam comes out, So the devotees are watching this whole thing. It's quite amazing. There's Lord Chaitanya and a weight, they're rolling on the ground and running after each other's feet, and then everyone knows that they're, at this point, juncture in that time, everyone knows who they are. They're actually the descent of the Lord, Vishnu Tattva. Amara o bhagyavanta hena bhakta sange o bhaktera paraduli lai sarvange. The Bhakta Sangha, or the Bhagavad Gan, a group of devotees gathered there together watching this wonderful event, exchange of love between Bhagavan and Bhakta and Bhagavan. He said, we are fortunate to have the association of such a devotee as Advaita Acharya and Bhagavan. We are all very, very fortunate. We take the dust from this devotee on our entire bodies, sarva ange. E bhaktera paraduli lai sarvange. We forget about putting the dust on our heads. We want to smear the dust on our whole bodies.